I had really bad anxiety at the time, and I am in this room. I am on a Zoom call with an expert that will help me to overcome my social anxiety. We're talking about my situation and how bad my social anxiety is and how to get rid of it. And he said something that made me cry in a good way. I literally had tears of joy. He said, "Stop beating yourself up for having social anxiety. You have social anxiety. You feel awkward around people, and it's not your fault. You went through a lot of things as a kid. And also, let me ask you something. How are your parents' social skills? Do they socialize a lot when they go out? How many friends do they bring home? How many friends do they have?" And I was like, man, that is so true. My parents, I'm not really good at talking to people, and they don't have a lot of friends. I noticed this with my sister too. She barely goes out and she doesn't have a lot of friends. And then he said to me, "Exactly, man. So socializing is something that you learn from people around you or from your parents. So hey, stop beating yourself up for having social anxiety. It's not your fault." I wish I learned this years ago when I was 14, 17, because I really hated myself so bad, and I disgusted myself because I never because I sucked at talking to people. I always had social anxiety and I would always be awkward. I remember one time I went to I used to go to church and they had a party going on. And I was like 17, 16. There was a lot of guys my age. There was a lot of girls too. I remember that I had crippling social anxiety. Like I couldn't talk to anyone and I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was like really awkward. And I remember that this fucking old lady, she was there and she was like, "Oh my god, guys, so can someone go and talk to him? Like he's not really good at socializing and he's a little shy. Get him involved in the conversation." And I was like, "Dude, fucking bitch, bro." I feel so ashamed that when I got back home, I went into the bathroom and I just looked at myself in the mirror with so shame, and I said to myself, "You're a piece of shit, man. You're awkward. What's wrong with you, man? You cannot even talk to people." I really hated myself. But the thought of I have social anxiety, it's not my fault, helped me to have hope and be like, okay, I was not born this way. I am not doomed. If I suck at talking to people, it's not because I suck and I was born this way. There's hope and I can change. It gave me hope. And I don't know, you probably have seen these videos where I go out and I approach people, I give compliments out. My social skills have gotten way better. I go out now and I make friends, I talk to people, I interact with people that I don't know. I have beautiful times with people. Because the thing that I didn't understand back then is that I was hating myself for something that I couldn't control. I couldn't control the rejection that I had. When I was a little kid, I remember that I gave a love letter to a girl. I wrote a whole poem and everything, right? And I handed it to the girl. And I was like, "Hey, I like you." And then I gave it to her. She grabbed a piece of paper and she was like, "Ew, I don't like you." And then she walked away, right? That thing marked me, especially 2 weeks after that. I saw this girl with another dude, but this dude was really good at talking to her. This dude was like making her laugh and everything. He had charisma. I guess those were one of the events that made me believe that I am a boring person and I'm not interesting and I'm not good enough. If people see me, they will reject me because I am not good enough. He is good enough. I am not. I suck. And that's another event that marked me and that led me to have social anxiety and to be like, or the time that I suffer from bullying, right? I suffer from bullying because of the color of my skin, right? I'm white and I was born and raised in Guatemala. And there's not a lot of people that are white in Guatemala, basically. So every morning around 7 a.m., I would arrive to school, and these motherfuckers, there was a group of 4 or 5, every single morning, they would come up to me, hit me, call me names, reject me, make fun of me, judge me. Made me believe that people are dangerous, that people are gonna judge me, that people are gonna mock me. Oh my god, are they looking at me? Are they judging me? Then on top of that, my parents, they didn't know how to socialize, and they didn't have a lot of friends, right? I remember my mom just had one friend, one close friend. That's it. And guess what? I grew up having just one or two close friends. And then I would see like all the like the popular kids with five, six friends. And then when I would hang out with them or when I would see them, they would be getting calls from like five, three of their friends. I'd be like, dude, what the fuck? This is not normal, right? And that's because I didn't understand that the social skills that I had was something that I learned from my parents, and also my self-esteem and the self-image that I had was really affected because of the bad experiences and events that happened to me as a kid. So I had really bad social anxiety, and it was not my fault. I was not doomed. I was not born with social anxiety. I was not born as this shy guy. And that's one of the things that surprises me, man, is that lately I've been working a lot on myself, and the more that I go out, the more that I talk to people, I just realize how they perceive me, man. I used to think I am boring, I have nothing interesting to say, but I've noticed that the guys that I just met, they just see me as this guy that is cool, that is like really interesting, that is like really funny, man. And it just blows my mind because I was hypnotized because of the events. So I would say this would be the action step. First thing first, look at your parents, right? And I don't mean to judge them. I don't be like, oh fuck them, right? Like just look at them. Are they really good at socializing? Do they have a lot of friends? How many friends do they bring home? When they go out to like a mall or church or whatever the case is, and if your answer is, well, I guess you're right, with not a lot of people. Well, I mean, they barely go out. They just work, come home, and that's it. That might be one of the reasons that you have social anxiety. It's because you learn how to socialize with the wrong person. And like I said, I don't mean to disrespect them, but I'm just telling you the truth here. Or maybe you had an event that made you believe that you're not good enough, or that you are boring, or you don't, your personality is not good, or you have nothing interesting to say, or maybe you believe that people are dangerous. In my case, it was all of those three things, right? So just stop putting all the blame and all the hate and all the dislike on you, and just realize that maybe it's not your fault. And there was things in the past and circumstances and events that happened to you that if they didn't happen, if those events, if those experiences didn't exist, you would be the most confident and the best at talking to people. It is the same thing with me. Maybe if the girl that I approached didn't say ew, or she just walked away without saying anything, maybe my life would have been completely different. Maybe if I was in a if maybe if my mom put me in a different school instead of with the bullies, maybe my life would have been completely different. Maybe if my dad was 10% better at socializing, and if I spent more time with him, maybe my life would have been completely different. The key here is that stop putting the blame on you because of your social anxiety, because or maybe you believe that you were born like that. You were not born like you were not born like that. In the same way that I can go outside, in the same way that I can record myself talking to people, and people tell me, "Oh my God, your social skills are super good, man. I can never be to that level, dude." I was at the same level as you, as the people that are commenting that, or even worse. So socializing is something that you can develop and that you can practice. You were not born shy or with social anxiety. So those are your action steps. Think about yourself. Think about, go back to your past, into your present, and look at your parents and be like, okay, I have social anxiety and it's not my fault. What am I gonna do now? And little by little, you start to change. You start to talk to people. You go out. That's how I was able to be more confident and be able to get better at talking to people, just by realizing that I am not doomed and I was not born with social anxiety.